transformative practices in education and innovative behavior can transform the teaching of today's teacher. Whether you are joining us online or on-site, your presence today reflects your commitment to shaping the future of teaching and learning. And let me add here that artificial intelligence will not replace teachers. It will never ever replace teachers, but the teachers who use artificial intelligence will replace the teachers who do not. And also, artificial intelligence is not here to take over education, but it is here to empower teachers, educators, and learners. Dear participants, before we proceed further, let us take a moment to stand together in unity and pride as honor our nation by singing the national anthem of Indonesia, Indonesia Raya. Please rise. Thank you. Let us remain seated and continue with today's program. Dear participants, without any delay, it is now my privilege to invite the head of the organizing committee, Dr. Nur Arifah Drajati from Sebelas Maret University. She has been very practical and instrumental while engaging with the AI and digital literacies in education. So without any delay, please join me in giving her a warm applause.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Our esteemed plenary speakers, Insinyur Ananto Kusuma Seta, Ph.D, Profesor Utami Widiat, Ph.D, Dr. Maria Hidayati, Profesor Ali Saukah, Ph.D, Roland Leung, Manager Director of Datality Lab and moodie.ai, Dr. Seong Lee, and also Ibu Rizky, Kristianti, S.Pd, and the last one is the most important one is Wincy. Okay, so their contributions will undoubtedly enrich our discussion and inspire meaningful change in language education. Dear esteemed participants, both on-site and online, a warm welcome to the 5th International Knowledge Transfer Forum. On behalf of Organizing Committee, it is an honor to welcome you to this prestigious event, whether you are joining us in person or virtually. As the Division of Teacher Professional Development in TEFLIN, We are delighted to host this forum, which serves as a platform for scholars, educators, and practitioners to exchange ideas, share research, and build collaborative network in the field of language learning and teaching. This year's themes: innovative language learning and teaching, social impact for inclusive education, highlights the transformative role of informal digital learning of English in promoting inclusivity and social impact. We are proud to have attracted 16 persons on site and more than 300 online participants from diverse educational backgrounds, including primary, secondary, and university level. Our participants come from various provinces across Indonesia, from Aceh, West Sumatra, Bengkulu, Lampung, Jakarta, West Java, Central Java, East Java, North Sulawesi, and also from other countries, from Japan, Malawi, and Somalia. And we are honored to welcome international participants joining us both online and on-site, further enriching our discussion with global participants and perspective. Their collective expertise and experience contribute to dynamic exchange of ideas, fostering innovation and collaboration in language learning and teaching. This forum would not be possible without the dedication and invaluable support from Education University of Hong Kong, TEFLIN, Universitas Sebelas Maret, Universitas Negeri Malang, moodie.ai, and ICER. Their commitment and hard work have ensured that this event provides a space for insightful discussion, knowledge sharing, and professional development. We also extend our heartfelt appreciation to all volunteers and contributors who have played a crucial role in making this forum in reality. Lastly, we express our deepest gratitude to all participants for their enthusiasm, dedications, and willingness to engage in meaningful dialogue. Your contributions are what make this forum a dynamic and impactful gathering. We hope that this event will not only enhance your academic and professional journey, but also leave you with valuable connections and memorable experience. Thank you for being part of the 5th International Knowledge Transfer Forum. We wish you a fruitful and engaging experience. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you, Dr. Arifah, for your inspiring words and for setting the tone for today's meaningful event. Next, we have the honor of hearing from Dr. Seong Lee from the Education University of Hong Kong, who is serving as an acting head of the Department of English Education. And he has expertise in the field of education and technology, the founder of IDLE. So please welcome Dr. Seong Lee.
Okay, good morning, everyone. How are you guys doing? Yes. So good morning, distinguished guests and colleagues and friends joining us both in person and online. On behalf of the Education University of Hong Kong, or EDUHK, and Department of English Language Education, it's my absolute pleasure to welcome you to the 5th International KT Forum, a collaboration we are proud to host with the UNS and TEFLIN since 2020. Today we are bringing together an incredible mix of expertise, policymakers, industry leaders, educators, and innovators, all united by one goal: innovative language learning and teaching, social impact for inclusive education. So whether you are here as a policymaker like Pak Ananto Seta, or organizational leader like Professor Utami Widiat, an industry pioneer like Mr. Roland Leung, a frontline teacher like Miss Rizky Kristianti, and or as our powerful inspirational impact research team, Tiara, Anik, Arin, Lufika, Arua, Wakasu, Nico, Winzy, Crystal, Queenie, and Becca. Your presence turns today into a unique opportunity. Special thanks to Dr. Nur Arifah Drajati, our co-project leader and organizing committee head, for your visionable guidance. And together we are bringing ideas and action to solve real issues and challenges in language education. So let me share a simple analogy. Imagine people touching an elephant in the dark. Each person feels a different part. Trunk, leg, and tail, and forms their own understanding. Similarly, terms like English language access or emotional engagement can mean different things to different people. But in our ongoing social impact project, we've defined them clearly. Access means the real opportunities for our students to learn and use English. Emotional engagement is about joy in learning and less anxiety and active participation. And fluency covers proficiency covers fluency, accuracy, pronunciation, vocabulary, and grammar. So with this clarity, our team, teachers, researchers, policymakers, and AI experts can design local solutions like AI tools and informal digital learning of English. By working with the schools and communities, we turn these ideas into actions, measure their impact, and create sustainable change. So today is about sharing ideas, building connections, and sparking the building partnerships. So let's learn from each other and ask bold questions, explore how we can shape inclusive education together. So because today we are not just talking about change, we are making it happen. So today, thank you for your energy, your expertise, and your commitment to transforming education, and let's make today unforgettable. Thank you. Terima kasih.
Thank you, Dr. Lee, for sharing your valuable insights and perspectives. With these inspiring opening remarks, it is now time to hand over the event to our esteemed moderator, Dr. Maria Hidayati from the State University of Malang, Faculty of Letters. She holds an Ph.D. in English at the National Institute of Education, Singapore, and her expertise includes English, language skills, literature, and applied linguistics. So without delaying, let's welcome Dr. Maria Hidayati.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, everyone. How are you today? I'm fine, thank you. All right. Welcome to Swiss Bell Hotel Surakarta. Today we would like to have a hopefully engaging and also interesting discussion under the theme Innovative Language Learning and Teaching, Social Impact for Inclusive Education. I believe you can see the picture of these prominent experts and speakers from all around the world. I'm from Malang. Around the world, around because we have someone from Hong Kong. Yeah. Okay. These experts and speakers, they will share their insights, experiences, and perspectives on the theme, and in the hope of having a thought-provoking conversation, insights, and discussion together. So, ladies and gentlemen, I believe there are more ladies than gentlemen today in this room. Teachers are usually associated with ibu-ibu, yeah. So, ladies and gentlemen, please feel free to take notes, reflect on key points, and prepare your questions. So, let me invite this lineup of speakers and experts. I would like to welcome Bapak Insinyur Ananto Kusuma Seta Ph.D. Would you please come forward, Bapak? And I would also like to invite Ibu Profesor Utami Widiati, MA Ph.D. You may sit here, Pak. Yeah. And the one and only Mr. Ju Song Lee. Would you please come forward so that I'm not alone in front? Yeah. Okay.
Thank you. Let me introduce our first speaker, Bapak Insinyur Ananto Kusuma Seta Ph.D. and he graduated from
The University of Kentucky, right? Right. He is committed to driving innovation, competitiveness, and technological integration in Indonesia's education sector. That's why he becomes the senior advisor to the Minister on Innovation and Competitiveness at Indonesia's Ministry of Education and Culture. So, Ibu Bapak, we have a very crucial person today. So, let's make sure that you enjoy the session and get the most of Pak, panggilannya Pak Seta atau Pak Pak Ananto. Kalau Kak Seta itu beda lagi ya Pak ya. Alright, each panelist has 20 minutes. So Pak Ananto, time is yours.
Alright. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Very good morning to all of you. First of all, I would like to I do apologize because I am the only outliers in this room. All are English. I'm not English. That's why I'm a bit nervous, Ibu. But I don't know what I'm going to say. And the second, I do apologize for the presentations. Maybe the English is not good also because I made it in the train last night. But anyway, first of all, I would like to congratulate the Ibu Nur, Pak Jo, Ibu Utami, Bu Rizky, Pak Roland Leung, and Bu Maria, and also all of you for Pak Ali. There's my godfather in English. To all of you for the this is excellent and very respectful event. On behalf of the Ministry of Primary and Secondary Education, I would like to convey deep appreciations to the committees, to the speakers. This is the milestone for the English, what you call teachings and learnings, entering the new era of our next 5 year agenda, which is, next slide please. But anyway, my title, this is good or not, deep learning that ennoble of all. Jadi pembelajaran mendalam yang memuliakan untuk semuanya, gitu. I don't know if it's correct English or not, but sudah Mas? Okay. Where are we going for the next 5 years? This is the policy that the Ministry of Primary and Secondary Education want to pursue on the next 5 years. The keywords is the quality education for all. From now on until 2029, this is the focus of the ministries to improving the quality of our educations not only a certain people, but for all, any age, any ethnic, for all, by all, and at all. The second things, what are the learning outcomes? We have 8 learning outcomes that we are going to pursue. The first is the faith and devotions of God Almighty. The second, we need to improve the quality of education by equipping our students with their citizenship. It's not citizen, but citizenship. So our students will be the global students, can go anywhere, can collaborate with other people from other country, other place around the world. The third things, I think everybody already know, the 4 C's, critical thinking, creativity, collaborations, communications, and the confidence, self-reliance. That we need to improve the confidence of our students. And lastly, health, the well-being of all students. Those are the 8 competencies that we are going to pursue or equip to all our students from primary until secondary educations. The next question is, if this is the goal, the agenda 2029, what is the baseline now? Next slide, please. This is the baseline. Where are we now? We have a big problem on the quality of educations, especially in the parameters on the C, creativity, communication skill, complex problem solving. If we look at the PISA score, program for international student assessment, 2018 and then 2022, look at this score. Sorry. PISA is designed with the, what you call the 6th level on the difficulties of the question. Level 1 is very easy, and the level 6 is the most difficult. In other words, level 1 until 3 is a question which is required low order thinking skill. Level 4 until 6, it's a higher order thinking skill. If we look at the data on the 2018, comparing Indonesian students with our neighboring countries, look at this. Red, it means level 1. Yellow, it's level 2. And green, level 4, and so on and so forth. More than 99% of Indonesian students only could answer the question on the level 1 until level 3. While other countries, say China, 50% students can answer the higher order thinking skill and 50% on the lower order thinking skill. Surprisingly, within 4 years, from 2018 until 2022 is not improving, but status quo. Look on this one, on the diagram on the left. Reading score is down 13 points. Math down. Science and also down. Again, the beauty of this result, it's more than 99% of our students only master and low order thinking skill. Lots. Question is, how can we improve the quality of our graduate on that? What is the recipe to improve the quality of our educations? Next slide, please. This is the recipe. It's not what to teach, but we will focus on how to teach. the pedagogical aspect. Maybe the last years on the past, we teach our students with their surface learning. It's not deep learning, which stimulate the creativities, complex problem solving, communication skill, and so on and so forth. So from now on, we transform our educations. We change and we shift our education paradigm from surface learning into deep learning. We transform from the unreflective approach, which is focused on the fact, not elaborate on, into the related topics and ideas to pass knowledge and experiences. So more experience on that in the futures. The second, shifting from no interactions with content or ideas into things critically about newly learned material. Change from concentrates only on the rote learning, memorizing. We change into ties and informations from other sources. From underlying argument but did not comprehend, into create a new argument and understand logic based on new informations. From the treat the talk as like to monotonous core into recognizes a structure in the contents, like in the English language. External incentive, which is into internal, intrinsic rather than extrinsic. And lastly, aims to recite and regurgitate material inactively into more and aims on the understand the meaning behind the material, the subject material that we are going to teach. This is a shifting paradigm that we are going to pursue for the next 5 years at least. Next slide, please. Now, what is the deep learning then, based on the criteria from the previous slide? If we look in the Google, you search in the Google, deep learning, tons of the article, research, but the definitions on the deep learning on the Google, it's more heavily on the AI, on the engineering aspect. But what we are going to pursue is not on the engineering aspect, but on the education aspect. Definitions also different from the literatures in the in the internet. We try to define the deep learning with locally rooted but globally engaged, with our culture, with our knowledge. The deep learning that we are going to define is a deep learning is an approach. So deep learning is not curriculum, but this is approach on the pedagogical approach that enables to all by emphasizing the creations of learning atmosphere and learning process that is mindful, meaningful, and joyful through intellectual, ethics, aesthetics, and kinesthetic exercises in holistic and integrated manner. So those are the definitions that we use for the deep learning, which is different with the other, expert out there. Fullen, for example, if you look in the Fullen definitions. Now, there is a keyword, ennobles, memuliakan. We believe that education is humanizing the human being. Education is not product. Education is a process, is a journey. In deep learning, that we believe every human being is the best creatures in the world. They are noble. Students are noble person. Teachers are noble person. So when we teach the noble human being, we need to teach with the noble way. Respect, ethics. Life, no one can guess. I could not have thought that I met you today. Maybe vice versa. So the children in front of us, who knows, the children who sit down in front of us become a president someday, become our leaders someday. So the way we teach to the presidents' futures are, a difference when we look the children with other perspective. Those are the philosophy. The second things on the mindful, meaningful, and joyful. Can go to the next slide, please? Yeah. Mindful is an approach of being fully aware of the present moment and engaged in the learning process. It involves focusing attentions on the task at hand, reducing anxiety and boosting confidence, approaching learning with curiosity and openness, encourage deep understanding, reflections, empathy, and applications of knowledge in real world context. Now, last night in the train, I found a paper written by researchers in the UNS. Name is Ibu Santi, published by journal UNS Academic ID. She found that the mindfulness practices affect the quality of learning by more than 73%. It's huge, the importance of mindfulness. Now, in terms of the language, English language, maybe we can start its lessons with a brief mindfulness yoga in Bali. Exercise to center the attentions. My experience and learning language, the main problem is distraction, focusing. So by mindfulness in the beginning of class, things will help the students to internalize what we teach to them. The second may be encouraging deep listening practice during the conversations. Maybe also engaging in reflective writing to process new informations, and maybe also practicing slow and deliberate speech to enhance the pronunciations and clarity, and so on and so on. So you may, propose other, experiences on the mindfulness in the learning classes. The second, on the meaningful. The meaningful that we think is an approach where learners actively connect new information to their prior knowledge, making it relevant and significant. It encourages deep understanding, motivation and engagement, comprehensions and long-term retentions, critical thinking, and creativity by relating learning to real life situations and experiences. In the language class, we can propose the contextual learning, relate language lessons to real life situations and personal experiences. Maybe we can initiate the interactive activities, engage students in role plays, debates, storytelling, for example. Project-based learning, I think everybody know about that. Authentic materials, use real-world content such as news article, interviews, and videos, and so on and so forth. Medias, social medias. It might be we can set up the collaborative learning to promote group discussions and peer feedback to enhance understanding and communication skill. Yeah. Next, yeah. Okay. This is the interesting. Usually we use a Bloom taxonomy. We use the Solo taxonomy on the meaningful. Solo stands for structure of observed learning outcome. It's created by Biggs, Professor Biggs. This is the explanations about meaningful learning. We need to relate every subject with other subject. And if we learn English, we just learn one route here, one relevant aspect. Maybe we can identify, we can name it, we can follow simple procedure. But it's not enough on the meaningful learning. We need to connect between English with culture, for example, with other routes, with anthropology, for example, with science. So more and more subject matters that relate with the English. So we can combine, we can describe, we can enumerate, perform serial skill and list. But it's not enough because those are single subject. There is no connection. We need to go to the next level. How can our English connect with other subject? Connecting. We analyze, we apply, we argue, and so forth and so forth. And the top level is not enough to connect other subject, English with anthropology, with culture, with science. We need to squeeze this into extended abstract. What is the meaning in the real life? So, yeah. Okay. Finally, next slide please. Joyful learning is an approach that makes the learning process enjoyable, interactive, and engaging. It encourages curiosity, playfulness, and positive emotions, reducing stress and enhancing well-being, which helps students stay motivated and eager to learn, and it transforms knowledge acquisitions into meaningful, fun experience. I think in the English class, we can propose the gamifications, music, song, storytelling, creative expression, and so forth and so forth. I think you know better than me on that. Next slide. This is the takeaways, the final slide. Yeah. Deep learning, again, is not a curriculum. Deep learning is a pedagogical journey that should be seen as a common good to enabling humanity and organize with the principle of solidarity and collaboration. Students, teachers, and knowledge, they create a triangle. Solidarity, compassion, ethics, and empathy must be embedded in the way of teaching and learning. Last night I found a new publication from the OECD. Students with positive teachers and peer relations report improved social and emotional skill. It's very good. Positive student-teachers relationship result in higher achievement motivations, persistence, and curiosity. The three elements for the top skill academic achievement. So relationship between teacher and student must be there. Collaborations. Lastly, on the finding, student aged 10 and 15 who receive teacher feedback, especially on strength, report high social and emotional skill, especially on the creativity, persistence, trust, optimism, and achievement motivations. So we need to give the feedback to the students to improve their learning capabilities. I think I have instructed to stop because The time is already more than 20 minutes. So again, thank you very much. I do apologize for my English is rusty. I do apologize for my presentations. But again, I'm happy on behalf of the Ministry of Primary and Secondary Education. Deep appreciation and thank you for your participation. Thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Check. Thank you so much, Pa Ananto, for the insightful presentation about deep learning. I think from his presentation we understand the shift, the shift. So we are introduced teachers. Are you teachers? Yes. Are you motivated teachers? Of course, right. So if you are motivated, if you are lifelong learners, I believe you are eager to embrace the shift from surface learning to deep learning. What is it in Indonesian? Mendalam. So how deep is deep learning? Let's see. How deep is your love, Ibu Bapak? Right. There are some important keywords that can be highlighted from his presentation. So later on, I believe you have a lot of questions, aren't you? Do you have a lot of questions? Teachers, do you have a lot of questions? Mumpung ada Pak Ananto nih. Do you have a lot of questions? Oh, everyone understands your presentation well, Pak Ananto. Thank you so much. Now, Ibu Bapak, let's welcome our second panelist, Ibu Profesor Utami Widiati, MA Ph.D. I think everyone here knows her well. Yeah, you must, not should, you must know her. Yeah, because she is our teacher, go back home in Universitas Negeri Malang, and she is TEFLIN president for 2 consecutive periods from 2021 up to 2024 and then re-elected for the next 4 years. And her research interests include foreign language literacy, second language acquisition, curriculum and material development, and because of her research interest, her professorship in the area was in 2009. And if you are keen on writing articles in Scopus Index journals, she is the chief editor of TEFLIN journal. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, let's give a round of applause and welcome Ibu Profesor Utami Widiati.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Very good morning. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Ibu Bapak, Pak Ananto, Pak Dr. Ananto dari Kementerian ya. We are so lucky to have him with us this morning. And then Dr. Jiu Seong Lee from Hongkong, Education University of Hong Kong. Ibu Bapak, let me send with you the warmest greetings from TEFLIN ya, the Association for the Teaching of English Foreign Language in Indonesia. We have with us here dari jajaran Dewan Penasehat ya, Prof. Ali Sauka is our advisory board, and then as mentioned by Ibu Maria Hidayati, I am the president of this organization, and Ibu Maria is the Secretary General of this organization. Thank you very much, Ibu Dr. Nur Arifah Drajati, for having all this event possible, working together for, I think you have been working together for 5 years, yeah, the 5th International Knowledge Transfer Forum. And I think I need to also greet participants joining us online, yeah. Ibu Bapak, I'm not going to repeat because I did not know what Pak Ananto would like to share with us, and then as I was listening to his presentation, I realized that some of my slides would be overlapping with yours. So let me just go through very quickly, because part of my time has been used by Pak Ananto, so I'm lucky. I don't have to speak for 20 minutes, perhaps 15 minutes. Now, I'm going to have a look at the agenda of the Ministry of Primary and Secondary Education from the perspectives of this organization. Yeah. So about TEFLIN, Ibu Bapak, I think you know who we are, yeah, and what we are doing. But before that, can we please go to the previous, not this one, the other. From the first one. Yes, this one, Ibu Bapak. Let me remind you of the next slide, please. Of this one, yeah. So I think everyone should be aware of this global transformation in 2030. So this is a kind of global agenda for all of us working with human beings, yeah, that would like to achieve this one in 2030. And many people have mentioned that Indonesia gelap dalam menghadapi 2030. Now something that is a bit irritating, yeah, but see that we need to be more optimistic, we need to be more positive in facing the 2030. So basically the area of improvement will cover people, planet and prosperity, the 3P. Perhaps Ibu Bapak, what we know in English language teaching, when we have 3 P's, yeah, we have PPP, we have triple P's, yeah, that might stand for what? Presentation, practice, production, yeah. But here we have people, planet, and prosperity. Now, when we focus on people, we are determined to end poverty and hunger in all their forms and dimensions, and to ensure that all human beings can fulfill their potential in dignity and equality and in a healthy environment. So we are expected to have a kind of holistic approach in improving the quality of human beings. Yeah. Now go to the next slide, please. More specifically, I would like to remind us all about UNESCO agenda about education. So, Ibu Bapak, of the 17 goals of sustainable development goals, we have one particular goal related to education. Can you mention the number? Number four. Number 4 is education for sustainable development, ESD. Now, as the follow-up of Global Action Program in 2015 up to 2019, we have the so-called education for sustainable development towards achieving the sustainable development goals. So we call it as ESD for 2030. This is a global framework for ESD in 2020 up to 2030. So we come up to this agenda of education, which refers to quality education and a key enabler. So we expect all learners will become key enablers in whatever context they are going to participate as the citizens of the global world. The next slide, please. Now, Ibu Bapak, when we talk about quality education, just recently we are introduced with this agenda from the Ministry of Primary and Secondary Education. Yeah, they aim toward the achievement of quality education for all. Pendidikan berkualitas untuk semua. This is the big agenda for Ministry of Primary and Secondary Education. And because of that, they introduced to us, in the next slide please. Okay, this one Ibu Bapak, ya, deep learning frameworks for quality education. Yeah, so I think Pak Dr. Ananto has already mentioned what is meant by this framework. Yeah, if you look at the framework, we have dimensions of graduate profiles. Yeah, we have 8 dimensions of graduate profiles, which shows a kind of our acknowledgement of the 21st century competencies and skills, but we add something that is very unique, very specific to the Indonesian context. That is the first one, the first dimension of graduate profile, that is ini, keimanan dan ketakwaan kepada Tuhan Yang Maha Esa. So it's a kind of relationship of ourself as human beings to our creator in this case. Now, if we look at the 6 other graduate profiles, basically those profiles are something universal, because we have creativity, we have critical thinking, we have collaboration, we have what else? Collaboration, creativity, critical thinking, communication, yeah, and then also citizenship, yeah, how to make our learners aware of their position as citizenship part of this interconnected world, yeah, and then we have the last one as well-being, yeah. We have to make sure that our students are physically as well as psychologically healthy. Now the next one, we have the learning principles. Yeah, the learning principles here, we cover the meaningfulness, we cover mindfulness, and also joyfulness. The learning experiences, we have things like understanding, and then applying, and also reflecting. Ibu Bapak, can we please go to the next slide? Yes, this is the framework from the ministry, and perhaps it has been read, it has been exposed to us many times through social media, but how to apply this in the real life context of classroom settings might become the challenges that we have to face together. The theory seems to be very easy, but we have to realize that we have Indonesia covering from the western part, yeah, like Aceh, Sabang to Papua, yeah. Okay, so the next one, next slide please. I'm not going to talk about this because it has been discussed by Pak Ananto. I'm going to go to the last part of this one about what TEFLIN can do with these all things. Next slide. Yes, what can TEFLIN contribute in this case? So hopefully from this forum, yeah, I'm going to share with you what we have been doing so far in trying to realize the agenda from the ministry. Ibu Bapa, as mentioned before, that in the next 5 years, we're going to focus on introducing, socializing, internalizing the concepts of deep learning. So whether we like it or not, we have to go through this standard of process, if we may call it, yeah, the standard of process. So TEFLIN, as the organization working in the teaching of English as a foreign language, would like to also help teachers throughout the country to understand this framework and help them see various possibilities of how to realize the frameworks into classroom settings. So we have been working for 1 week, yeah. 1 week, 1 week, yeah. So because this is a non-profit organization, yeah, it's not like the ministry. You have the budget, Nanto. We don't have the money, but at least we have initiated some noble activities of how to respond to this agenda. This is going to be for 5 next years, and my serving term will also end in 2028. Yeah, so almost at the same time. So we try to make use of the remaining time. And Ibu Bapak, I have selected some representatives of our chapters coordinators. So TEFLIN, if you look at this one, this organization from 2021-2024, we had only 16 chapters. Now we have 20 chapters. Yeah, the 16 chapters can be seen here, Ibu Bapak, from Aceh, and then Sumatera Utara, Sumatera Barat, Sumatera Selatan, Jawa Barat, DKI, Kalimantan, and so on, up to Papua. So we have up to Papua. And this year, this serving term, we have added 4 more chapters. The 4 more chapters here covered Nusa Tenggara Timur and Nusa Tenggara Barat, because previously the 3 areas here were covered under just 1 chapter. And then when we went to NTB, we went to NTT, we realized that it's not easy to connect and to coordinate activities covering this one. And particularly because NTB and NTT, we realized they have different socio-cultural settings. Yeah, this one is very Islam-based community with the NTB, and this one is very non-Islam based community. So we try to separate the 2 chapters here so that we can be more optimal in serving teachers, Ibu Bapak. And the other 2 we add here, Sulawesi, because previously we had only 1 chapter for Sulawesi, and Sulawesi is a very big island here, and because of that we divided this into 2. Yes, the northern part of Sulawesi and the southern part of Sulawesi. And one more thing is about Kalimantan. Previously we only had 3, now we have 4 chapters in Kalimantan. So the team, the core team, were actually the representatives of all those 20 chapters. We've been working hard under the supervision of Prof. Ali Sauka. I am the boss. And everything is organized by Ibu Dr. Nur Arifah as the coordinator of TEFLIN, Teacher Professional Development. So we have been preparing some training package to be finalized, to be socialized later on, but still in the process of developing how to address the message given by this ministry, Ibu Bapak. So if we cannot rely on our government for 100% because of the issues of efficiency and so on and so forth, so we have to work on our own. If it is not financially rewarding, it's going to be akhiratly rewarding, I think. Amin, amin, amin. So Ibu Bapak, our big plan is that when the package here is ready, we're going to invite all the 20 chapter coordinators to become master teachers, master trainers. They become the master trainers, and we expect to have, if we have 20 chapters, and then each chapter will be then attended by around 50 teachers. Altogether, we're going to have training covering 1,000 English teachers from this country. We hope for the best. We don't know whether we can do that or not. Otherwise, we can go with Dr. Lee to get some project for the next 5 years. All right. Okay. So the package is still under review. Yeah. Why? Because we would like to empower teachers to make them relax. Not that very anxious because of something new, yeah. And we have that kinds of jokes, yeah. Every time we have new minister, there is always something new. So we have to make sure that, yeah, it's a kind of telling teachers, please rest assured that there are points compatible to the existing techniques and strategies that we have. So within the training package, we have some points as the overview of deep learning here, and we examine the compatibility between deep learning and, for example, PPP, presentation, practice, production, and then we also see the compatibility between deep learning and genre-based approach, with a project-based approach or problem-based approach, or even with other innovative techniques and approaches in language teaching. So Ibu Bapak, hope for the best. Hopefully the training package is going to be ready soon, and then after Lebaran you might be invited to get together, because most of you come from Central Java. Yes, so that means you belong to this one. Central Java chapter, So we're going to select teachers, at least 50 from each chapter. If not, then we might need to change. For Papua, it's going to be hard to get 50 teachers, for example, so that if the number is not covered by Papua, it can be given to teachers from East Java, or Central Java, or West Java. Kita berdoa, mudah-mudahan berkah Ramadan membuat semua mimpi kita menjadi kenyataan. Do you know my language? No. Because we are approaching Ramadan months. We hope everything good will be given to us, through our blessing. Yes. All right, Ibu Bapak, thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. By the way, I'm going to ask. Bu Maya already asked you, are you all teachers? Yes. He said yes, right? Okay. Are you all TEFLIN members?
Will be.
Will be or should be? 100% certain should be. Will be.
All right. Thank you so much, Bu Utami. Let's give a round of applause for Bu Utami's presentation and sharing on how TEFLIN can contribute to the new shift, to the new paradigm shift issued by the ministry. Yeah.
We initiated a English.
Yeah, untuk bahasa Inggris. All right, Ibu Bapak, there is a slight change of the schedule. We will continue with question and answer. So, Mr. Lee will present during the second session. So, we have questions and answer session. If you have any questions, please raise your hand, indicate your name and where you are from, and we have only 10 minutes. If there is no question, meaning that all good, all is good.
No questions.
Yes, please.
No questions, but prayers are welcome.
Anyone is willing to give the mic? Oh, there is only 2 mics.
Assalamualaikum.
Waalaikumsalam.
My name is Abu Zar, and I'm from
Will you
Pakistan.
please stand up? Yes,
And
so that everyone can see you.
I'm doing masters in psychology. Thank you, Dr. Ananto, for the wonderful presentation. Actually, you have mentioned about mindfulness, and I agree with it. We have to focus on the present moment, but the issue arises here that how can we achieve that mindfulness? So I want to know your perspective. What are the tactics and strategies by which we can get mindfulness, and also we can recommend to the students? Thank you.
All right. So correct me if I'm wrong. You are asking questions related to mindfulness, how we can do that and achieve, and what kind of strategy that we can use. Right.
Exactly, yeah.
Can we have 2 more questions from Ibu-Ibu? Yes, Putri.
Okay, my name is Ibu Triwardati. I'm from SMK Negeri Matese. I have one worry about something that is happening in my school, and I want to ask to Pak Seta, Ananto about this. As far as I join Gerakan Sekolah Menyenangkan, Pak, in 2020, we have been introduced about ennobling, what is it? Ennobling our student, humanizing human. So just like our students must be treated like human, not like robot like that. And I also implemented about how I teach my students, not only in my class, but also how to teach them in their own homes, their society like that. And I want them to present about what their experience when they helping their parents, helping their neighbors like that, and then they present whatever kindness they have done in their own society, in our school. And I think that it's really impactful in practicing their English. So I think it's really work when we treat our student like that. But in my problem, my school, is that how can we encourage our colleagues to do the same thing with us, because most of us are ASN, they are in zones, in
Comfort
safe zone.
Comfort zone,
So
all right.
comfort zone, so safe zone. So yeah, just teaching is just teaching whatever they want to, but they don't think about future generation.
Yeah.
That the generation live now, they will lead us next 30 or 40 years like that. So my question is, what policy must be created by the ministry to encourage our
Teachers.
teachers about humanizing human for our students.
Yeah.
That's all.
Yeah, thank you, Putri.
You're welcome.
I forgot to greet people joining us online. Hi, can you see me saying hi to you? There is one question there.
Yeah, we have another question over here. So please take this one.
Pardon?
We will take the question over here and then we'll move to
Oh,
online.
okay.
Me or this one? Me. Okay, thank you, Mr. Introduce me. I am Sri Hartini from SMA Negeri 2 Surakarta. Thank you for Ibu and Bapak for giving explanation about deep learning. But I'm so sorry, I am not clear or understand about what is the mindfulness, and I'm still confused how to apply in teaching learning process, especially for acting in class. How to be my class will be mindfulness to improve my material, so my student will have knowledge. Thank you.
All right. I think we have 3 questions. 3 questions are enough. Later, yeah. I think all questions are directed to you, Pak Ananto. But probably later, Bu Utami can share insights on how to apply this shift, this paradigm shift to our language classroom. Oh ya, maaf lupa.
Sorry. Well, first of all, thank you for the very difficult questions. Difficult because my background is not education. I'm an engineer and science. Yeah, but anyway, I have experience in my house. I have early childhood education in my house with 89 students, and it's unique TK. Name is Al Furqan. It's the students in my early childhood education school is very special because this is from lower class family. Second, inclusive. So any kid or child who rejected from other school then come to our school, then we receive it. believe it or not, this is not Ria. Ria, but Ria Hasana. Ria Hasana. Last Sunday, there is a competitions among the early childhood education in Kota Tangerang, and we got 8 medals. Yeah. How can we teach special need? We not calling special needs student. We call it special talent student. We teach with the heart. So education is humanizing the human being. The teachers in my school, in our TK, is teach with the heart. Now, there's mindfulness. I show you the video later on. I have the video. The first, very critical for students to start learning on the mindfulness by praying, mindful, who am I? We need to, dig into the heart of every single student, fully aware of the present moment. Who am I? I am a part of the creatures on the God. If then, what is your obligation to the God? I am part of the society. What are you going to do with the society? I am part of the natures, like Ifu. What should you do to the natures? We internalize 5 minutes in the beginnings, so every student know exactly who am I. What are we going to do on the next 40 minutes? Second, the student promise. If I want to learn the singing song, what is your promise? A, B, C. Yes, I follow. Not, interrupting each other. So we need commitment to every students. It's not initiated by teacher, but among them, let them manage by themselves. Don't interrupt. Keep silent. Let focus. So they realize what is the precious moment on the next 40 minutes. By themselves, not by the teachers. That's very important. Then we deliver the subject with fun, joyful. I have a video in it. Then on the end of the lectures, reflections. Every student speak. What is the reflections? What you learn? Oh, I'm singing song. What song? What is the beauty on the lyrics? Something like that. So those are very, the mindfulness to make them realize, what is who am I? What is the present moment that is precious for them? That's the my experience or our experience, And Bu, this is I cannot say because this is very sad moment. An autism and hyperactive and speed delay. They perform dancing and all the parent crying yesterday. We don't believe that our kid can do that. They don't believe at the beginnings until my wife knocked the door. Mom, you have a kid. You need to send to the school. No. Because this is I pakai keluarga. They hiding the kid. So, no, this is your kid. This is the best creatures in the world. Yes, they are having the difficulties in one subject, but we believe they have advantage. Among the average. Then the task of the teachers to find the the strength of the student. Nah, soccer pertandingan yang sepak bola yang kecil itu apa? Sepak takraw. Oh ya. Sepak takraw, we champion number 2. You know the players? The hyperactive students. We champion number 1 on the menggambar, apa namanya? Drawing, autism. So when we got the medal, the mom crying for that. Yeah. So this is the beauty of the educations. The second, Ibu, on the, what is your question? Sorry. Yeah, humanizing. How to change the behavior of the teachers. One of the mindset, the most difficult things is to change the mindset of the teachers. Now what the government do to make sure that every teachers are 21st century teachers, start from the selections in the beginning. Not in service, but pre-service teachers. We communicate with the higher educations that the student do enter to the FKIP, the teachers, training institute. It must be the real candidate of the teacher. Become a teacher is by call. It's not by anything. It's by call. Yeah. Since the beginning, I'm going to be a teacher. That's the real teachers. Yeah. This is in the selections, the process from the beginning. So, things in my school, we have 9 teachers. It's not the grade point average. It's not you are graduated from university what, but we test on the psychology. This is a real teacher or not? That's because in the kampung, because the very poor area. I live in a poor area. That's Now, the second things we need to tell to teachers that teaching professions is noble professions. It's a noble. Being a teacher is noble professions. That's everybody don't realize that it is a noble professions. Things we need to internalize on this. So this is my experience. I do apologize again. I'm not on the background of the education sectors, but I just autodidact and run the Taman Kanak-Kanak with 89 students now, and become the models on the Kota Tangerang, because the student coming from the low full family, anak tukang sayur, tukang macam-macam itu, but now become the proud of them. And to apologize, 2 months ago, one of our graduate is on the junior high school. They are the best mathematics in the school. 8 o'clock in the night, knock the door, and then grab my wife. Bunda, I'm the champion of the mathematics. And the mom outside crying. I cannot, that's the beauty of the education. Every kid are noble person, human person. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you. Perhaps Bu Utami can give a wrap up or.
I don't think that we're going to talk about how to apply all the principles into classrooms, because this is not a workshop sessions, Just wait and see, Ibu Bapak, you're going to be invited later when we socialize the concepts of deep learning into classes, Just hope for the best. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Bu Utami. So, Ibu Bapak, the highlight of the day, just stay tuned. The upcoming agenda from TEFLIN. Thank you so much. So this is the end of our first session. We'll come to the second session. So Pak Ananto and Bu Utami, thank you so much for the insights and perspectives on the shift. Okay, for next second session, Bu Nur, Okay. For the next second session, we have a kind of hybrid one. Due to technology, we can have our speaker from Hong Kong, Mr. Roland Leung, Mr. Roland Lang. All right, and also Mr. Joe, and please come forward, Ibu Rizky Kristianti. Yeah, please join us so that I'm not the only alpha female here. Alpha female. Right, Bu Rizky, come forward. Pak Roland, are you here? Can you say something so that we can hear you? We can't hear you.
Yeah, all right. Thank you for having me in this conference. I see a lot of
All right.
enthusiastic teachers joining very early in the morning today, and I'm very happy to be joining you remotely. Although I wish I could be here in person. The technology, like you said, enable us to connect just like we are meeting in person.
Yeah.
So today I have
Hold on, Prof. Mr. Lang. I'm going to introduce you first. Is that okay?
Thank you.
Can you hear me well?
Yes.
Yeah. I'm going to introduce you first, and then later you can start your session. So, Ibu Bapak, we have our expert. Kalau di universitas itu dosen praktisi ya, dosen praktisi. So we have a practitioner here joining us online from Hong Kong. He is a seasoned market research professional with over 25 years of experience. Wow. And he is the managing director of Datality Lab. He leads a team of passionate marketing and data scientists, leveraging data visualization, statistical modeling, and machine learning. So we have a really hands-on practitioners and expert on the subject related to data, AI, and data science and things. So thank you so much, Ibu Bapak. Please be mindful and be present. Be present to be engaged with the material on communication performance transformation with Moodie AI. Pak Lang, Mr. Lang, time is yours.
Leung. Thank you. Once again, thank you for having me joining you today. I feel extremely grateful to have the opportunity sharing my experience implementing digital learning for the English language in Hong Kong and increasingly in Indonesia. Let me start by sharing with you the impetus for our ongoing development. Because this survey conducted by LinkedIn in 2023, in 2024, suggested some of the most important attributes and personal qualities to enable the workforce enjoying upward mobility. And they highlighted 10 very important skills, all of which you can relate to very easily. For example, customer service, leadership, ability to solve problems, analytical capabilities, teamwork are all important. But one attribute came to the top consistently for the 2 years, which was communication. And so that's why we believed it is a very worthwhile direction to pursue, especially in communication. And if we are able to empower our students with communication skills as early as possible, then we are doing something good for our workforce of the future. And I've come across this topic and I became inspired, but early on in our investigation, we were consistently challenged. And especially in where we started in Hong Kong, teachers were saying, hey, communication, we teach English, we teach Chinese, some other students take a third language. And are we already teaching on communication? And my answer is yes and no, because language alone is not communication and it's not all aspects of communication. As you can see in this diagram, I try to illustrate that communication in our definition means something else. It means our ability to use language for sure, but also our ability to influence our audience using other aspects of our body language. For example, our facial expressions, our tone of voice, and our speech content all come together to form our ability to communicate and deliver impactful influence to our audiences. And this is the skill that LinkedIn highlighted. And then we looked into how this is being taught or not being taught in education, and we realized that to empower our students the skill to communicate well in everyday life, we need to strike a balance between imparting the knowledge to the students, which we can do in the classroom, like we normally do with language training. But we also need to empower our students using skill-based learning, meaning they need to be able to practice and be receiving feedback so that over time, they internalize this ability to engage in impactful communication. So the ability is empowered by a combination of knowledge and skill. And this becomes challenging for our educators in all markets, because while teachers can easily engage in classroom-based learning and teaching, they cannot easily provide one-on-one feedback for each and every student on a repetitive basis. So we needed to find a solution, because looking at my childhood experience, I was trained in speech competitions when I was very young. And I was fortunate that my teacher chose me out of the entire class of 35 plus students to participate in this very intensive training. And out of that intensive training, I won a regional competition, and that experience changed how I was able to deliver public speaking, when I started working as a young professional. And so we know this is valuable, but we also know that teachers cannot do that for each and every student. So it becomes a very niche training opportunity for very few students, and my estimate is that less than 5% of students in any school population would have enjoyed similar intensive training. And so we needed to expand the reach and give more opportunities for more students. And 5 years ago, we started investigating the use of AI to deliver the same learning experience for our students. And so we started promoting a learning experience using AI since about 2021, which involves 4 things. 1, we create virtual audiences for our students to practice against, so they don't need to have their peers, they don't need to have their teachers available when they wanted to practice. So as long as they have the motivation to learn, they have the audience available anytime. So we solved problem number 1. Problem number 2 is when we practice without the coach, we then have to perform like the coach ourselves. So typically we look at the mirror and we practice against ourselves, and we look at our own performance and we give ourselves feedback, which is not a very effective way of learning, because we can't do the delivery and assessment at the same time. So our number 2 solution is to use AI to analyze our facial expressions, our body language, our tone of voice, as well as to use generative AI nowadays to analyze the speech content and the relevancy of the speech content that we deliver, and be able to synchronize all these feedback into a holistic set of assessments, just like a highly experienced coach would also do. So number 3, we know that a lot of students over time gathered a lot of data, and they also received a lot of suggestions how to improve. This is like what to improve on, but we also receive feedback from teachers saying, the what is just as important as the how. If they needed the improvement, they know they needed to improve, but not knowing how to do the practice differently so that they could achieve the desirable outcome, then it becomes halfway there. Right? And so we developed our Learning Resource Center so that our students having bottlenecks with their practices can refer to the resources recorded by teachers and trainers so that they can know how to improve on in the future. Lastly, our administrators can also be observing our students' performance using the administrative portal, knowing how our students have been practicing, the number of times they've practiced, the scores they've been receiving, and the overall improvement priorities from the students, so that in the future, in the classroom, they could deliver in-person coaching even more effectively. So there are 4 components to our system. And fortunately, we have been working very closely with a number of universities, including Education University, which Dr. Lee comes from, but also City University of Hong Kong, in which we installed the first moodie pod last year into the campus, so that students could book this facility and engage in a very immersive learning by themselves without the interference from the neighboring environment. And so we're looking to expand these resources and having more installations in more universities and schools, both in Hong Kong and perhaps in Indonesia and other markets in the future. The way that we deliver the experience looks like this, where you can choose to practice against different target audiences. They may be one person, they may be a group of different persons, and they may be turned into a stadium where you need to practice public speaking. And then our AI will conduct analysis like this after each and every practice, focusing on not just your speech content, but your facial expressions, your body language, and your tone of voice. And using data science modeling, we amalgamate everything into holistic assessments, including your overall performance score, your confidence as a public speaker, your fluency, your credibility, whether you're genuine in communicating with your audience, as well as your energy level. And most importantly, based on the score that are deducted from the ideal score, our system automatically generates suggestions for improvements so that our students will not only know the score they received, but how to improve and get better scores in the next practice will also be provided by our system. So it becomes a complete feedback loop after each practice. And over time, they will accumulate statistics like this, which they can use to measure their standard against their peers and know that whether they have achieved the desirable learning outcomes as set by their teachers. We've been very fortunate that this development has not only received government funding in Hong Kong for once since 2020, but has been continuously receiving funding from Hong Kong government. I think this is not just to show that our ability to get funding is improving, but also the fact that our development is increasingly in line with the educational direction set by the Hong Kong government. So we know that we are increasingly moving towards what the government wants in our education, which is to encourage students to engage in self-paced and self-directed learning, which is very much in line with what Dr. Lee has been promoting over the years. So technologically, we are having a product that moves in the same direction as Dr. Lee has been promoting over the years. And our ability to develop the learning experience has attracted not just funding from the Hong Kong government, but also support from universities in Singapore and so on and so forth. And also, our product has been awarded a number of times in local and international competitions. So these have been reinforcement that we are doing the right thing for the education industry. And our school partners have been increasing. And since our launch of government-funded partnering programs, our number of partnering schools have been increasing very rapidly in the last 2 months alone. And we are now launching programs where we provide the training platform and supported by professional trainers who will do the training in school for our students in primary and secondary schools. Okay, so let's extend the topic a little bit to talk about how this technology is helping to create a more equal playing field for students from all kinds of backgrounds. Because when we heard from Dr. Kevin Yeung, also from Education University of Hong Kong, that he has conducted a number of research projects related to low-income family children and students, how their language acquisition abilities is affected by the fact that the family doesn't have the same economic support for their learning, affected their learning outcomes. And what Dr. Leung has suggested in his research is that there are three components that makes up students' motivation to learn a second language. One is their expectation imparted on them by society, which is called ought to self for second language acquisition. Secondly is the innate motivation to acquire language to develop themselves into the personality that he wants to be. So this is not external pressure, but internal motivation. On the left-hand side, Dr. Leung called it ideal self for second language acquisition. And the third important factor is the quality of learning experience. Right? So you have the motivation to learn, you have the expectation to excel, and then you also have to have a good learning environment that gives you all the learning opportunities so that you become who you want to be. So this framework is easy enough to understand. But for our lower income family students, they typically have less of these resources to excel in learning, because in Hong Kong and in many markets, shadow education, private tuitions are very common. But for children who don't have such economic resources, this opportunity is not available, which affects not only their actual performance in learning a second language, but also their motivation to become someone who has more upward mobility. And so this is a very complex set of interrelated dynamics that affected low-income children's development into a very capable language and communicating person. And so with this in mind, we tailored moodie.ai into a funded program that focuses on providing more learning opportunities for children in lower family income backgrounds. And supported by government funds and NGOs in Hong Kong, we started this program in late last year, where we provide dedicated training for lower secondary school children in secondary 1 to secondary 3. So they are the earlier ones in secondary schools, but also upper primary schools children in their primary 4 to primary 6 years. And they qualify for this free training, they need to be coming from lower income families. The way that we do that was we had between 2023 and 2024, we had pilot studies with 10 schools coming from different districts in Hong Kong. And we provided a training program which looked something like this, where the teachers will encourage students to participate in extracurricular classes where they learn about communication skills, and the children will have the opportunities to perform at the end of the program. So this is a short video of how the program ended with a celebration.
好難得有呢個機會啦，咁我哋咧就推薦咗20多位嘅同學咧參加咗今次呢一個 public speaking 嘅一個 training course。
但係呢個 program intensive training 入邊咧，其實佢哋有好多空間係俾佢哋去互相分享。咁我覺得呢樣嘢係令到學生咧個自信會提升。
最欣賞咧就係佢哋有一啲嘅自學嘅工具介紹咗俾同學啦，咁令到同學咧其實喺自己閒暇嘅時間都可以做多啲嘅練習。
我覺得呢個活動咧
So you can see from this training program and the pilot program, we received very positive feedback where 70% of students found the program useful, and they were also finding the program increasing their confidence in the use of English. And they also appreciated the e-learning tools that we provided to them as part of the learning experience. So with the pilot program and the success of which, we extended the program to benefit more children throughout Hong Kong. And you can actually see from Moody's data, we see students after undergoing the program actually improved quite significantly in their overall abilities, but also on their ability to use the nonverbal aspects of communication, like facial expressions, their body language, their tone of voice. So we know that the data supports our program and provides ongoing evidence that if we persist with such training, we'll be able to see improvement and permanent improvements in our students. So our program focuses not on the traditional language aspects like grammar and spelling and dictations, not at all, but we focus on aspects like planning how to deliver a speech, how to appeal to the audience, how to deliver a personal style in your presentation, and obviously giving them the opportunities to showcase their abilities at the end of the program. So it's a very rigorous but also innovative training approach. And we see that at the end of the program, our students were able to deliver public speaking like they never did before, and they were doing it with much more confidence than they ever imagined. So that was the benefit we were very happy to see. So overall, we are very keen to continue with partnership with educators using technology to support training in communication abilities. And we know that communication, like I said very early up front, it's a foundational skill that ensures the upward mobility. In a world that AI performs a lot of the tasks better than humans, but does not do communication the same way as human can ever do. So we reference how STEM education has become a global phenomenon over the last 20 years. But we see that with technology, with the use of innovative pedagogy, we'll be able to use technology to empower communication in schools, in all the markets, not just in Hong Kong, but globally. And so supporting the program that Dr. Lee has been promoting for independent digital learning in English, we see that digital learning of language and communication skill will become as popular as STEM and STEAM education globally in the next 5 to 10 years. So I want to end my short sharing here with a special thanks for the organizers and Dr. Lee for inviting me to this program. And I want to be pausing at this point to see whether there's any feedback and question from the audience. And I'm happy to share more of my experience as you wanted to know. Thank you again. And
thank you so much, Pak Leung. Give round of applause for his sharing and also presentation and experiences. He has shared to all of us here about one kind of software called moodie.ai. I think it's quite relevant to us that actually technology can assist us in any relevant field. Right, Ibu Bapak, can we go to the next panelist? Of course, sure. The committee has invited them. Of course, we need to get the most from them. Oh, you have one. Okay, Mr. Leung, there is a question.
Yeah, please.
Let me introduce myself. My name is Puwin from SMA2 Surakarta. Let me tell you that I have applied, since you have a collaborative Prof. Lee and the workshop, that is a moodie.ai, and I have applied the moodie.ai in my classroom. And at least more than 200 my students registered on moodie.ai. And the problem is, when my student try to access the moodie.ai, it needs long time. So they need lot of data quota, so a lot of money will be spent by my students. So my question is, how to overcome this problem? Actually, moodie.ai is good. My students are happy to use moodie.ai for practice speaking. That's it. So the first question is how to overcome, because they need a long time to access the moodie.ai. And the second one is when my student practice the speaking using moodie.ai at home, of course, the score about the gesture is not so good because they only use a mobile phone, so they just look at the camera, not using the gesture. So they cannot using the gesture, just sit down and then look at the camera. So when I asked, why the score is not good? Yes, ma'am, because I just sit down and look at the camera without doing just anything. So my question is how...
thank you for the question. I think this is an ongoing development need.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. So perhaps I should share my feedback on this question. And the particular aspect that we wanted students to focus on in their learning is actually body language. So although we know that students can use their mobile phones to practice at home, they can walk a little bit further away from the mobile phone so that the camera can capture their body language, we still prefer them to be in a more dedicated learning environment. So that is why in a lot of schools in Hong Kong, we install some very simple devices, such as an iPad with a stand, so that they can use for perhaps their library to conduct more comprehensive learning and assessment. So we have been working with schools to develop, such as the one that you saw earlier called moodie.ai, where they could be practicing in a more immersive environment where the system can analyze all aspects of their performance, including the body language, which your mobile phone cannot be assessing. But even without the expensive equipment like this, we could be installing some very simple setup in schools so that students can enjoy similar learning experience. And that is why we wanted to visit Indonesia and visit your schools in person in the future and helping you install these setup so that our students could be assessed even more effectively. And also when they are being assessed effectively, they could also be receiving more accurate feedback on their performance. So this is something we will continuously work with you to ensure the optimal learning outcomes. But thank you for the feedback. It's been very useful hearing from you directly.
Let me tell you one thing. But anyway, moodie.ai is awesome for my students and for myself. Okay, awesome.
Thank you. Really appreciate that.
Thank you so much, Ibu, for the question. Shall we go to... Oh, there is one more question. Yeah, please. Don't forget to indicate your name and where you're from.
Okay. My name is Ahmed. I'm from Solo. Yeah, so I'm studying Master of Educational Technology in ONS, but I'm from Somalia. Okay, I want to ask about your moodie.ai. Does it have what do you call a strategy to evaluate a gesture language? For example, we have in our rural area they communicate gesture language. For example, they communicate in whispering. They have a language called whispering. For example, if you wanna want someone, you want him by whispering for him. So it has that kind of what do you call whispering language. So it's do you have any way that you evaluate for this sign or whispering language for your model?
Yeah, I think we are in the earlier stages of our development, and there are a number of languages we are already able to use and be able to analyze with. For example, English, Chinese, or the Cantonese language that we use in Hong Kong. For other languages, we will be able to work with educators locally if we see sufficient demand. But I think AI could learn different languages relatively easily these days. But to develop the training standards and the benchmarks for each culture is the bigger challenge of ours. So we look forward to working with researchers and educators in local communities in the future, not only to train our system to detect newer languages that we have not been including, but also to develop the training benchmarks for what constitutes ideal performance, because we don't want to impose one standard into every culture. And so that is something that we needed to continuously work on. And that is why we have been very welcoming of partnerships from not just in Hong Kong, but in all countries, because we needed to develop such benchmarks that become locally relevant. So hopefully I've answered your question and I have given you a future direction of our development.
Hope that answers. Yeah, whispering language. Oh, I just know that there is a language to whisper. What I know is the title of a song. Right, Ibu Bapak, I think we can conclude the session for Mr. Leung. And
Thank
we
you.
can thank you so much and send my regard to
Appreciate that.
anyone in Hong Kong.
Yeah, and I hope to see you all in person in Indonesia.
Amen to that. And
Thank you.
we can invite you to Malang. You know? With Dr. Lee. Yeah. Right. Thank you so much, Mr. Leung.
Thank you.
Shall we go to the next session with Mr. Dr. Lee, or his complete name is Mr. Ju Song Lee. Right. I'm honored and I'm what is ndredeg in English? nervous because Stanford University, I'm sitting next to the world's top 1% scientists in languages and linguistics, according to Stanford University. I'm not even 1%. I'm not even one of 100%. Right. Miss Dr. Lee is an acting head and associate professor in the Department of English. The Department of English, and the university is Education University of Hong Kong. And his work focuses on IDLE, informal digital learning of English, right, and its social impact. So I think we can learn a lot from his presentation. So Mr. Lee, Dr. Lee, 20 minutes is yours.
Almost too good to be true to bring various stakeholders into one room. It's also almost mission impossible, but I think thanks to TEFLIN and government official and industry leaders and the UNS and frontline teachers and our research team here in Hong Kong, I think it's a collective effort to make today a reality. And let me begin with a very short story to talk about our research projects. So when I was a university student, I've been doing a lot of volunteer works. So I travel, I think, to over 10 different countries over 25 years in doing a lot of volunteer works. And then, so the deep learning actually is at the deeply ingrained in my heart, because I have to always think about, and I always find it meaningful, and also it gives me a lot of joy. Yeah, not just pleasure, but it's like a deep happiness after this, and it gives me a lot of deep thoughts. Who am I? Why am I doing? So how I can make good use of my talent or time to benefit people and communities. But one limitation is it's not sustainable. It's only 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and then I leave, and then life goes on. And then that was my like a deep desire, an unmet desire. And then I start my master degree in 2006 or 7. And then I attend one of the Asia TEFL conference in Bali. And it's actually true that 2008. And it's true that for the first time in my life, it really changed my mindset. Before that, I thought English education is about grammar or assessment, motivation. But I was sitting in the back of the conference, conference venue. It was conducted by the Indonesian ELT teachers, talking about some ELT theory and practice for 30 minutes in English without stopping. It was really, really inspirational. Wow, how could one person can articulate the idea in English language So I was really challenged and inspirational, and that was the first time in my life that, oh, I need to pursue this academic career. So I'm sure that presenter is part of the TEFLIN. Yeah, TEFLIN. So I'd like to appreciate TEFLIN because that person made me who I am today. Yes. So I'd like to say thank you, TEFLIN. And then I began teaching, and then I began my doctoral study in United States. And then it was 2015. I met Dr. Arifah Drajati in the Harvard University, and then we just met casually, and we disappeared. But then we became a friend, like Facebook friend, and then exchange, and we did very small scale projects here and there and build our friendships. And then when I came to Hong Kong, we continued to collaborate, work together. So for example, I was teaching IT course in Hong Kong, and then she was teaching in UNS. And then she said, oh, John, I have some problem in Solo because students really want to learn English, but they have a lack of resource. Teachers want to teach, but they have a lack of pedagogical knowledge. So how can we solve? I say, I don't know. But I go back and I talk to my students. Oh, my friend from Solo said, oh, they have this problem. So let's brainstorm. And then they really, they try to put their hearts in the heart of the Solo students, and then try to come up with innovative, different ideas to help them. That was our first project. It's called the digital storytelling. So our students developed a digital storytelling stories, and then send a link to Solo teachers, and then they integrate it in as part of the after-school program. Although it was a small scale, I think it was a big beginning. But we never know, it became bigger and bigger because I got a grant, internal grant from our university, gave me 4 grants, and then they let me publish many papers in Indonesia. And then last year we submit external grants to Hong Kong government. It's now under review, so wish us luck. And then one of the grants provided by our university is called the Impact Case Study Projects. Meaning that I'm a researcher. I think it's very common, I think all around the world. Researchers, typical researcher is they spend a lot of time sitting at the desk, and then they read very big, thick books and literature review, and then I found research gaps, and then they come up with the research maybe design, and they develop instruments, and they collect the data and validate, or it work, and they publish. But the impact only stay within the academia. How many population academia? Maybe only a few, right? Maybe less than 5%, maybe less than 1%. How about the rest 99% of the people, everyday people who are living, working hard? So that was my dilemma for my first maybe 4 years of my career. And then I learned there's a term called social impacts. The social impact began with real needs of beneficiaries, like your students and the teachers. And then after we understood the real needs of the problem, and we defined them, and then we came up with the innovative approaches and integrated in collaboration with various stakeholders, like teachers, teacher educators, local partners, government people, the ELT organizations, and mentors who have tons of wisdom and experience, and industry people, industry leaders, NGOs. It was very, very exciting because if you find like-minded people, although they are different background, we can actually tackle an important issue in this community all together, and that project can be sustainable, locally appropriate, innovative, and sustainable. So that has led to this project. And then together with the UNS and TEFLIN, we've been doing KT, capacity building project over the last 5 years. So this marks a 5th session. So which show we are very serious. we don't do it just like a portal or we are very serious. We like to invest our resources and our time and bring our teams to here and to truly bring an impact on this community, to serve the people in this Solo and beyond other part of Indonesia. And then when I visit Indonesia, I think last year I came here 4 times, and this is my 5th time. And then I learned something, the real problem of this community. There are many problems, but we actually focus on this problem, that is enhancing English proficiency. And then we focus on the community. Our group is called the limited access communities. So limited access actually very broad. So it could be a language access, it could be a technology access, it could be a teacher access, resource access. So it's a broad term, but we target those people. And then AI, idle, I think Roland just mentioned about AI, moodie.ai. So we integrate this AI tool as part of the idle framework. So it's AI mediated idle can be serve as innovative approaches. So yeah, next. So when we do the research, what we found that there is a limited access to English resources in Indonesia, and then also there's a lack of opportunity, speaking opportunity in and outside of the classroom. And then when we look at the science, the literature, and interview and talk to the students and teachers and community people and parents, it actually, both of these challenges made a negative impact on students' enjoyment, like a learning enjoyment, and then also they felt anxious about speaking English. And then when the real opportunity arises in the real life situation, for example, when the foreigners, tourists come and ask them, they're not willing to communicate. They're reluctant to, or they disappear or run away. So it led to a low sense of willingness to communicate, so that they tend to use the target language, English language, less, thereby leading to a poor speaking proficiency. Next. And then today, I think broadly speaking, there are 4 learning spaces. One is the classroom-based spaces, like the teachers, based on the top-down, the mandate curriculum. They just disseminate the knowledge to the students through maybe conventional pedagogy, and there's assessment. So this is very common, still very common all around the world. And then there's another learning space, which is called the extracurricular space, which is teachers integrate, assign the tasks where students can complete the task and then bring it back to the classroom for more in-depth discussion. And then we all experienced it during the pandemic last couple of years. And then there's emerging the space called the extramural space. Extramural means, in Latin term, is outside of the school wall. So I think, let's be honest, look at your parents, look at your children, or look at your students today. They spend enormous amount of time on the internet, consuming a lot of digital content, not only in Bahasa but also in Indonesian, in the English language, and then like through social media and Netflix and Spotify and all other applications. So actually, this space, I think teachers and educators and researchers actually have neglected over the last century, because okay, here's the thing. We talk about the mindset, teacher mindset. So teacher mindset, deep on their heart, they think a classroom should be physical classroom. So like physical classroom, so 90 minutes, maybe 4 hours per week. So this is a real classroom, and this is the only place learning takes place. However, now, because of the technology development and AI and also all these changes, I think our students today, like we call digital native, are actually constantly exposed to the target language and use the English language based on their own needs and interests, also to their future needs. They engaged in this informal digital learning of English, or idle. So I conceptualize this phenomenon as a idle, so that we can call this phenomenon as this. And then actually using this term over the last 6 years or so, we have conducted research at least 10 different countries, and what we found was the students who engaged in idle more frequently, they are likely to enjoy all these learning outcomes, like affective states, psychological states, cognitive outcomes, linguistic outcomes, cultural outcomes, even increasingly the teacher capacity building. This is very important because in the past, conventional manner, we often think language teaching is just grammar or maybe linguistic skill improvement. No, it's more than that. Like aligned with deep learning, actually learning a language is a very complicated process. It's related to your psychological state, emotional level, and also your motivations, confidence, and also the environment surrounding you. So that's what we found. So that now there is a positive relationship between idle and the consequences of learning outcomes. And then recently, researchers have started looking at the factors that facilitate this behavior or antecedents. So they broadly look at like demographic factors, like is it genetic, like age, gender, and then they also look at the internal factors like motivation and psychological needs, and also the external factors, like the individual surround environment. I think the mapping out the mechanism of idle is important because like a researcher or teacher like you, or even the policymakers, if you know how we work, the process, you can actually effectively design the intervention program based on the evidence-based and scientific way. It's not random, it's already validated in the science academic world. So based on this scientific discovery, and then when we introduce this to the teachers, first to the Hong Kong teachers, because they come to our university to enhance their capacity. And then when we introduce this heuristic idea to the teachers, they say, oh, my son improved his English by watching YouTube. But when he go back to the school, he have to wear the teacher hat. So he have to always provide a corrective feedback. So I think the model does not work, meaning that teacher introduce idle to the students mainly may not work. So it should be like a pedagogy. Teachers need to create the locally appropriate pedagogy that work in their own context. So we create a idle continuum model, meaning that some schools are very conservative or very top down. So, but in that school they can begin with the formal digital learning, which is a top-down teacher-driven activity, and then gradually move to the extracurricular activity where students become increasingly empowered to learn and use language. But teachers have to carefully design their tasks, and then ultimately students become autonomous, independent learner in extramural context, in out-of-class digital learning spaces. So for using these two books, we have provide a very detailed lesson plans how teachers and teacher educators can implement this in the context where they live, based on their own infrastructure and settings. And then with my doctoral student, and I actually validate this model in China last year when we published. And what we found was when we measure the students' communication skill, what we found that if you just introduce idle to the student without any teacher, maybe pedagogical intervention, it worked, but not significantly. However, when teacher involved, like all of you, most of you who are part of this project, who learn concept from our team, and our team help you design the lesson plans, and you actually implement it in the classroom. Over time, as you can see, the teacher-supported idle group, their communication competence improves. However, the conventional group, like a typical conventional traditional classroom students, their communication competence dropped over time. So this is what we found through this research. Yes. And then, so that has led to this project. And then again, our very brief background. So I have a very deep, I don't know, Indonesia is sort of a second hometown. So always think about how we can use this science or research to benefit people in need. And then Indonesia came to me, and then there is my partners, and there's a UNS, and there's a TEFLIN. So we have we also have a MOU over the last 3 years, and then it went well. So our university allow us to sign another 5 years of MOU, and we have hosting international KT forum like this over the last 5 years, and then we'll continue to do it. And then when I came here and giving a keynote or workshops and seminars, I met actually over 5,500 teachers. And then I heard their feedbacks and I interact with those students. And especially last year when we led the workshop, we try to understand the teachers' challenges. So we conduct a survey and what are the biggest challenges for you to integrating this innovative idea in your local school. And then our team analyzed what we found was there are 3 factors. One is the pedagogical skill, exactly aligned with Professor Ananto's point. Teachers' pedagogical knowledge is lacking. So I think through our collaboration, like TEFLIN and UNS and EDUHK can actually help improve their capacity building and also the student motivation. This is what teachers need to help, right? They can. Another one is the resources. In the school, there's a lack of Wi-Fi. At home, the student may not have the devices. I think this is where we need industry partners. So moodie.ai can provide a product so that we can use the product to bring innovation to your local context. And then last year we trained, very similar to this one. So we invite experts from various the field, and then we provide a capacity building projects. So later this one, you will have a chance for AI training, so to enhance your capacity building. So we did it, and then the teachers went back to their school, and then they implement what they learned from us, and then what we found was that among 2,820 students from age 8 to 19. So this is one example. So this is a training, and then the frontline teacher like Rizky implement the idea, and then we actually observe. We went into the school, see if she is really doing what she promised. So we saw and we asked students. We also have a follow-up interview with the students. We also ask parents and the principals to really get a holistic, comprehensive understanding of this project. And then this is our outcomes. I think it's a very positive. Although we did not have a control group, and what we measure before and after this intervention across 2 months, what we found was that students' reading and listening time increased. Students' speaking practice time increased. Their sense of enjoyment increased. Their willingness to communicate increased. And their self-perceived communication competence increased. And the school senior also adopt the IDOL model as part of their curriculum, so which show that the senior management of the school actually are serious about this, so and supportive. And then it's good that because local media gave us attention to these projects. And then so now that we learned some from the first season, we learned lessons. Now the second season that we are doing this week and over the next 3 to 4 months is we are going to have a control group to show a true effectiveness of our intervention, and then moodie.ai will be provided to all schools, so that you can, your student and you can use moodie.ai as many times as you want without worrying about the finance constraints. And then like we increase more target teacher training program like this one. So meaning that next time we're gonna bring another the EDUHK team to here and then interact with you to enhance your teaching capacity. Yes, I think this is one example of the moodie.ai. I think we can skip this. And this is just very conceptual framework how we work. So the conclusion is, thank you very much, and then we like to continue to work together to make a real life impact on the students and teachers and community we serve. Thank you, and thank you. Appreciate the partnership.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Lee, for sharing your project on idol. Idol or idol? Idol. Idol means I do nothing. Where idol beda lagi ya Pak ya. Idol beda lagi. What are you doing? I'm just idling. I'm just doing nothing. Right, thank you so much. And now we've come to the last but not the least, Ibu Rizky Kristianti. Kristianti, Ibu Rizky Kristianti. Previously a mentor at LBPP LIA Surakarta. Saya dulu juga LBPP LIA loh Bu, cuman Malang, sama-sama Fiesta ya. Yeah, Fiesta. And now she's a teacher at SMA Negeri Surakarta. Nggak ada satunya di sini. Di sini Bu. SMA Negeri 1 Surakarta. And she is an experienced English educator, graduated from Muhammadiyah University of Surakarta in 2005, and wow, she actively engaged in professional development, joining international training programs, AI-driven teaching strategies at UHA. How do you read this? UHA Women's University, and TPEC and Multimodal Literacy. Yeah. Wow. Right. So we have an experienced educator and teacher. Bu Rizky, 20 minutes is yours.
So this is one of my approach to what Professor Lee taught us in a training last year. So he came to my class and then he saw how I teach and he likes it. So next. This will be put into 3 parts. The first part is personal background and teaching context. The second part is overview of the challenge engaging senior students in English learning. And the third part is the power of connecting with students' digital interests. Next. My short part of a CV. That's my email, phone number, work experience. I didn't have that much professional qualification. Next. So why webtoons? I got this question a lot when I chose webtoons. As we can see from Pak Ananto's explanation, our students have really low interest in reading. They simply say they don't read. If they need information, we used to go to Google, they go to TikTok. Which is fine actually if they go to the right sources, but if they don't. So I want to increase the readings, how to make them interested in reading. Webtoons. It's a popular digital medium among students. It's rich in contemporary language and cultural context. It has combination of visual and textual elements. It has pictures, colors. It has everything. And then high engagement factor through storytelling, as again Pak Ananto said. There's always a story, even just small glimpse of a picture, it tells a story. And then natural alignment with students' interest and daily habits. They go through webtoons through their phones. It's something that they would go to toilet holding their phones. If there's one thing that they will never forget to bring, it's the first thing they touch in the morning when they wake up, open their eyes, phone. The last thing they will go sleep like that, with their phones in their hand. So use that. Next. This is the webtoon that I chose, and the reason will be in the next slide. In the next slide. Okay. No, not this one. Oh. So, no, correct. So, why do I chose this? The first part is selection criteria. Not all webtoons are appropriate, age-wise. Some of them are too, So I put my foot in and I chose that because I was searching and then no, not this one. And then oh, this is kind of interesting. No, not this one. I go through that process a lot. I'm reader myself, I comic book read. My first comic book was from Alex Media Computindo, Candy Candy, and then Doraemon, Detective Conan. You know, I collect comic books in my house until today. So I read comics, I know what is appropriate, what's not appropriate, what could be good for the students, what not good for the students. And then the second part is how to integrate those with our curriculum objectives. We have targets as well, right? The curriculum told us that for second year we have to go this part. This semester we have to go to up to this point. So how do we integrate them? What do we want them to know? What do we want them to learn? What target do we want to achieve? And then student-led content selection process. I put the autonomy to students' hands after, to balance entertainment with educational value. You can have fun, but that's another point that I want to, talk about here. How do we make them want? One of my professors said this in my class many years ago. You can lead a horse to water, but you cannot make them drink unless they're thirsty. So it's our job to make them thirsty. How? One of the way is by using their POV. What do students like? Nonton YouTube, miss, but what kind of YouTube? What kind of YouTube? Next. So, in classroom activities, I divided them into 3 parts: reading comprehension, language production, interactive elements. In reading comprehension, so they're reading something, finally, yay, they do something. Okay, good. What do they get from it? Character analysis, prediction, what is going to happen in the next chapter? What do you think? What do they say? What kind of person is this person? Which one do you think is the main character? Which one has, the side character? Which one do you think they are? Cultural context discussions. Webtoons are mostly made in Korea. So there's something about it. Instead of eating Indomie, they eat ramyeon. Instead of eating ketuk, they're eating tteokbokki. There's a cultural context in there that they, need to learn as well. Vocabulary building through visual context. This is what Professor Lee showed in my classroom. I showed them a slide, and one of the picture, the character was sitting, he puts his butt on a chair and go, so I showed that. And I asked my student, what do you think he's doing? What does he feel? What makes you think he feels that way? He's tired, miss. Why is he tired? Because he's working. What was he doing? Only working make you tired? No, he's also studying. Okay, what do you think makes him feel, is it only tired? He's exhausted. Comes with the new vocabulary. Exhausted. So we validate the students. We appreciate that they're coming up with the do not criticize. If we want to fix like the pronunciation, sometimes there's an itch. You have a mistake there. I want to fix that. Hold your horses, ladies and gentlemen. It's not the time. If they're willing to speak up, you hold. You can fix that later. And never, you make mistake. No, I don't do that. My classroom, somebody told me, make your classroom a comfortable place, a safe space. No one is allowed to make fun of their friends. If your friends are making a mistake, pretend you don't see it. It's not your job to fix them, it's my job. So whenever somebody makes mistakes in my classroom, it's a mistake. They will be like, oh, I'm sorry, miss. It's fine, go on. Dr. Lee and the staff, they heard firsthand from my students how I told them that mistakes is fine. It's fine. Everybody does. So, next. Language production, they have dialogue recreation, role playing. It means that they understand the context. The Language is not only the words, but also the feeling, the tone, the cadence, the visual representation, the body language, like the Mr. Leung from moodie.ai said, the body gesture, the facial expressions, dialogue recreation, role-playing. Story continuation exercises. What do you think the story will be? If you were this person, how would you want the story to end? They come up with a lot of, what ifs, and I like that. Written responses and creative writing, they must be, they're busy writing something. They found new vocabularies, they found a way of using something. They're willingly, like I said, make the horses thirsty. Next, interactive elements. Sometimes they don't like it when they have to speak in public. So make them speak in public, smaller public. Group discussions, plot developments. What do you think about this episode? And then those who are willing to go forward, they can have a presentations on their favorite episode. So from this One Piece anime or One Piece story, I like this part where he was doing this. Peer teaching of new vocabulary, this, I gave the video to Dr. Lee yesterday. One of my students, she's really good, really smart. One of her friend, a classmate, came to her and asked, can you teach me how to pronounce this? I don't know how to pronounce it. So she was like giving him the step-by-step of, I don't do something, I just let them be. One of the way in my classroom, like if you come into my classroom, it will be messy, it will be noisy, it will be students doing their things, but they're doing something that I want them to do. It's no time for students to, sit down, sit straight. No, they can be rolling on the floor. Miss, I'm tired, I just had 2 exams. Can I write this down while lying on the floor? Sure, lying on the floor. You can see all sorts of, one of them start to have a paper fight with the other students, to draw out their excess energy. That's fine, as long as it doesn't bother the class next door, that's fine. But they're learning something, they're doing something, that I want them to do something. Next, what did I get? Student engagement increased. Improved vocabulary retention. Sometimes it stops to a certain point, but when doing webtoons, unlimited. They always find a new way of saying something. Enhanced cultural understanding, which we all need. Better class participation, and natural language acquisition. I don't teach them, they learn it by themselves, which is what the IDLE is about. Next, students' feedback, positive. Open your phone, yay! Check out the website that you use to open Webtoon, yay! Increase confidence. I want to, but I cannot, so I ask my friend. Oh, no, I can. I come forward. Will I be humiliated? No. Safe space. Greater motivation for self-direct learning. That's what they get. They're learning something. They watch, they read a sentence, they're like, oh, I like this sentence so much. Appreciation for modern relevant content. It's difficult for us, me, sometimes, to catch up with the newest trend sometimes, but I'm trying. If you want to try, you can learn anything. This is not something new, I guess. I guess like a lot of teachers have been doing this. They just don't see that how much it affects them. Sometimes we have to go back to what we want the students to learn. How do we want them? How do we make these horses so thirsty that they would come up and say, Miss, I want to drink. Thank you. Next. So the challenges are, as we can all see, content appropriateness, time management, of course, assessment adaptation, how do we assess this? Technology access considerations, how about the students who have limited access on, gadgets? Some students
come from families that cannot afford a phone for a students. So they have to come up with like cheaper version of a phone that would lag. How do we come up, how do we overcome these challenges? Next. So what would we doing in the future? So expanding webtoon selection, maybe not only webtoon, maybe other parts. Cross-cultural learning opportunities, maybe when they meet someone from that. Integration with other digital platforms, could be anything. And potential for students to create themselves, create their own. I have one student from 2011, she likes drawing so much. Her books are full of pictures, it would be sloppy, it would be, you know. Now she's a webtoon, she's one of the creator in webtoon, officially. I told her, like, you know, my parents want me to stop. No, why should you stop? Keep doing it. I believe in you, why don't you believe in yourself? They make it themselves. Next. So the conclusion, success factors and key takeaways, I've told you all before. Recommendation for implementation, it could be anything. They could be like, come up with the story. Maybe we can go develop that too. Like we can see the content in Instagram. She's a 10, but she has no parents, living with her stepmother and her two stepsisters. Guess who? Cinderella. She's a 10, but she sleeps a lot. Exactly. See? You can come up with anything. What else? I was making a note here. We know Tiana is from Africa. She's a Disney princess. We have Moana from Hawaii. How about Indonesia? Do we have any Indonesian Disney princess? So I told the students, make your own Disney princess. Choose who. Why? Think of you're having a presentation in front of Disney executives. They come up with characters from Indonesian folktales. Combine. Alternate universe. Some of my students like fan fictions. Make your own alternate universe. What if Bandung Bondowoso is in modern setting? What do you think the story will be? Will they build, make me not 1,000 Candi, but make me 1,000 startup. Make me 1,000 applications. You're teachers, you're skilled, you know what to do. Thank you very much.
Interesting experiences, Bu Rizky, for the selection of webtoon used in idle classes, idle English classes. Right, ladies and gentlemen, due to the interest of time, I think we need to end the session for panel discussion. We will continue with the next session, but before that, let me do some wrap up. That we start our session, we start the panel discussion with insights on deep learning, in the hope that we can empower our students, we can enhance their understanding and knowledge about the world, about anything that we have in our life and also their lives. So hopefully this session can enhance our understanding and also knowledge also on how to teach our students and also how to adapt and use technology to assist our profession. So ladies and gentlemen, ubur-ubur ikan lele sudah selesai. Terima kasih banyak semuanya. Wabillahi taufik wal hidayah. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning.
So, dear participants, thank you for having all of you over here today and making these events more wonderful and unforgettable. Now it's time to hand over some beautiful gifts from Hong Kong from Professor Dr. Ju Seong Lee. So I invite Professor Lee to come onto the stage. Professor Ananto, yeah. So I honorably inviting Professor Dr. Ananto Kusuma to have the gift from Professor Dr. Seong Lee. And Professor Dr. Utami Widiat to have a gift from Dr. Lee. And Ibu Rizky Kristianti. Yeah. Professor Utami Widiat. And last but not the least, Ibu Rizky Kristianti. So thank you, Dr. Lee. Thank you, all of you. So it was the end of the first session. After that, we are having the second session for AI training. And after that, we will have the ending. Yeah, so sorry. Yeah. Yeah, okay. Happy birthday, Professor Ali.
Hari ini
Yeah.
hari yang kau tunggu.
Happy birthday. Happy birthday.
Usiamu, bahagialah kamu. Yang ku beri bukan jam dan cincin, bukan seikat bunga atau puisi, juga kalung hati.
Yes, please.
Maaf, bukannya pelit atau gak mau, gak modal dikit yang ingin aku beri padamu, doa tulus hati.
It's a really surprise. Birthday surprise. I didn't really expect to be like this. Deeply touched with all your appreciation to my presence over here. Thank you very much. God bless everybody. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.